is, we had all this talk about Esau with entries that were said to be from Strong's that were not actually from Strong's, and all this extra data from other further non-canonical sources.
Esau, the hairy goat. All right. Read Genesis 36 and 8. Now, Vocab just said Esau had nothing to do with the goat, and that I was injecting this in the conversation. So we're going to prove that Vocab is misleading the people once again. Read Genesis 36 and 8 and 20. Seer, the hairy goat, the he goat, hairy, shaggy, a demon-possessed goat-like. Pan. These are all from Strong's definitions. Seer is a Hebrew idiom for the he-goat or human hybrid devil that is generally worshipped in the occult by means of an upside-down pentagram. The demon of Mount Seir is also referred to as the god of war. Esau mixed in with the Horite, which means cave dweller. That's what it means to be Caucasian. So Esau mixed in with the Horites. The term Horite or Horim in Hebrew means cave dweller. Cave dwellers are commonly referred to as Caucasian. Edomites today are the Caucasian race. This is what the goat represents. And these are the names of all of Esau's descendants. Esau means hairy. Edom means red. Canaan means humiliated. Adah means to advance. These are his wives. Elon means strength. Kittim means terror. Ahalibama, my tent is elevated. And then you go on to all of his sons. Eliphaz means my God is gold. The Edomite, the Jewish people who worship gold. That's why their last names is Goldstein and Goldberg and Silverberg and Silverstein, because this is what they worship. Reuel, God is my friend. Yeush is another of his sons. Hasty. Ya'ala means a coat. Korach means cold. These are the names of Esau's children. And we're going to see when you put the names of all of Esau's descendants together, it points only to one nation. Okay, and this is Mount Seir. This is where they come from. So when you put the names of all of them together, and the prophecies, I just showed you their names. In verse 1 of Genesis 36, when it says Esau is Edom, this is what it means. Esau is hairy and red. These are the names of all of his descendants translated into English, the meanings of their names, and it's a prophecy. Esau will be humiliated. He will advance in terror. He answers to his dyed tent elevated in his village. In other words, his house is stained with blood. His Elohim has heard his fragrance and he flourished. Esau will advance. Gold is his Elohim or his God. He befriends his Elohim with spices, or he worships mammon. Basically, his God is gold means that this society is run on the worship of mammon. This is Esau's work. He elevated his tent in haste. The occult, that's the name of Ya'alam, one of his sons, means his name means occult. The occult has made him cold. Esau will be humiliated. Okay, Esau lives in the cold climates. That's where he's from. And he is heavily into the occult worship. Esau will be humiliated by his brother Yaakov or Jacob. Verse 7 doesn't have any names listed. Verse 8, Esau is the goat demon. Esau is Edom. Esau and the Edomim or Edomites are goat demons. Esau's Elohim is gold. Esau will advance. He befriends his Elohim with spices. His Elohim is gold from the south. He is an observant speaker, a hunter from the burnt valley. That's what it means. Burnt valley is Amalek, the Amalekites. Esau will withhold his Elohim of gold. The Amalek's Elohim is gold. He will advance with Esau. He is a friend to his Elohim who rests in death. His light will rise in horror and fear. This is Esau's fragrance. Esau answers to his elevated dyed tent. Esau hastened into the occult. He is cold. Esau's Elohim is gold. Esau is an observant speaker and hunter from the south. Amalek is cold from the burnt valley. Gold is his Elohim. Esau will advance. Esau is a friend to his Elohim resting in death. These are the names of his children. And no one kills more people on earth than the white man. And this is Esau's portion. These are the meanings of the names of all of his descendants put together. His light will rise in horror and fear. This is what he named his children, horror and fear. Edom is a friend to his Elohim, the fragrance of Esau. Esau's tent was elevated in haste by the occult. He is cold. Esau answers to his elevated tent. Esau is red. He answers to the cave-dwelling goat demon. That's in verse 20. His covering is overflowing in diverse colors, meaning he would have power over many different nations. The mountain goat is his treasure. The cave-dwelling mountain goat, the goat demon of Edom. This is verse 21. So Vocab kept trying to distance Esau from the goat, but when we go to biblical text with Hebraic thought, the two are always put together. The cave dweller is covered in rage. His covering is restrained. He overflows. His loftiness is made bare. His strength is made bare. He answers to the vulture of diverse colors, and answer from one in diverse colors. So this points to a vulture, which reminds us of like a high-flying bird. He answers to the mountain goat whose tent is elevated. He answers to him. He takes pleasure in the mountain goat. He plays the harp with exceeding vigor. He torches. So it talks about Esau playing the harp while worshiping the mountain goat, which is the music industry. He tortures and vexes with the treasures of terror. He consults and rejoices in the mountain goat. So Esau in the music industry represents the harp. And the secret prophecy in Esau's genealogy continuously makes reference to the mountain goat and the goat demon. The spiritual meaning behind this is Esau's worldly influence through the satire, half goat, half human gods of the music and entertainment industries. That's why they make our black people sell their souls to Baphomet, which is the satire or the goat demon, in order to get a record contract to play the harp.
That's what came to mind when I saw that.
Okay. In order to attain worldly success in these industries, a blood sacrifice is required to the goat of Mendes. So obviously Michal was an idolater. She had an idol in her room, as Vocab mentioned in the scripture. And then she had a goat next to that. This shows you that she was an idolater. All right. So why would she have lamb's wool there? You're right. Why would she? If she has an idol there, that means she's an idolater. And that's why she turned on David later on. Azazel means goat demon. Leviticus 16:8. This demon is depicted as half human and half goat, having both male and female features. Satanic rituals are performed, and this is all that Kanye is fighting against. Everything that we're talking right here is in Esau's genealogy. This is everything Kanye West has been exposing. Satanic rituals are performed, which usually include inverted pentagram symbolism to represent the face of the scapegoat. When elite entertainers reach the height of their careers, they are given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This ceremony is performed on top of a pentagram to symbolize their demonic covenant with Satan. Yehoshua classifies Israelites who believe in him as sheep, and those who do not he calls goats. This is a clear reference to Azazel, the satire goat demon of Mendes, who uses sorcery in the form of entertainment to lead souls directly to hell. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before Yahweh. And this is what we're looking at with the goat, to make an atonement with him and to let him go to Azazel in the wilderness. And then David had to flee into the wilderness after that. So this is using line upon line, scripture upon scripture, or if Vocab doesn't really like that term, we could say in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. So we can get 2 or 3 witnesses that line up with goat, and it always talks about one being made atonement for, a sacrifice, and someone going into the wilderness. And that's what had to happen to David after that. He had to go in the wilderness.
How many roads, too many signs, I can't read them. Wouldn't recognize the turn even if I seen it. Been driving all along, feel like I'm dreaming. Okay.
When it comes to Seir, the things he said were in the Strong's entry were not there. Pan, goat demon, it was not there.
Seir, the hairy goat, the he goat, hairy, shaggy, a demon-possessed goat-like. Pan, these are all from Strong's definitions.
The Seir was already named that from the patriarch of the Horites, according to Deuteronomy 2:12. There's this overemphasis on these connections with Esau, which, it was never shown or demonstrated that Esau equals all, Europeans, which is bizarre. And then it's, there's all kinds of problems I'm going to get to in a second, such as, Europeans don't have big noses. Well, I'm part Sicilian. We're known for having big noses. But I'm just saying, the Horites, this is Deuteronomy 2:12. I don't want to get too off track here. The Horites also lived in Seir formerly, but the people of Esau dispossessed them and destroyed them from before them and settled in their place, as Israel did to the land of their possession, which the Lord gave to them. So you see that prior to the Edomites coming to live at Mount Seir, there were Horites who lived there. So is it named Seir after Esau? Or is the name already Seir? Because the Horites lived there prior to them. Now, you could make an argument and say, well, they got the name when they moved in there. But now the text doesn't say that. That'd be an assumption. You'd have to put that into there. I'm just saying it was called Seir when the Horites lived there, it appears, according to Deuteronomy 2:12. So all that work to do all that connections doesn't hold up to a simple verse, because here's Seir with Horites living in it prior to the Edomites. Related to that, he showed a picture of a goat and then read off a bunch of stuff, including Pan, goat demon, and said, this is all from Strong's.
Seir, the hairy goat, the he goat, hairy, shaggy, a demon-possessed goat-like. Pan. These are all from Strong's definitions.
Well, I have the physical copy of Strong's in my hand right here. And on the screen, I have the enhanced Strong's. That means it has even more additional information versus the regular Strong's that most people have. I have the entry for Seir up here. Let's read it. Patriarch of the Horites, inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, Edomites. That's what I just mentioned. The land of Edom. So notice, this is the patriarch of the Horites. His name is Seir. So maybe the mountain was named after the patriarch, Seir. Do you see that? This whole connection with Esau and the mountain in the name is very tenuous, as I'm showing by this, because even in the first entry, you have a problem with what he just said. Patriarch of the Horites was named Seir. That's prior to the Edomites living there. The Edomites did not live there when it was named Seir, because the patriarch of the Horites, his name was Seir. The inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. First entry, problems already. Second entry, the land of Edom south of the Dead Sea. So it became known as that because of the mountain related to it. A mountain range in Edom extending from the Dead Sea to the Atlantic Gulf. So these are different entry. This is Seir in Strong's. He told us what he had on the screen was all from Strong's. I don't see any of that. And I looked up at every different version of Strong's I have. Where's Pan in here? Where's goat demon? Where is it? It's not in here. There's only two things in here. I'm going to show you. They're at the bottom. A mountain in northern Judah lying westward from Kirjath Jearim. Additional information, Seir equals hairy or shaggy. That's the only thing that he had on that entry that was actually from Strong's. So he told us it was from Strong's. But when you actually go to Strong's, that whole entry he had was not there. Someone needs to go back right now, please. I'm not saying the host. I'm saying in the audience. Scrub backwards to the point where he had that goat on the screen with the entry. Screen record where he said, this is all from Strong's, and look at what's on the screen, and then juxtapose it with this part where I'm showing you the Strong's entry, and it does not include the stuff he had on there. This is basic errors. We've encountered two already. He didn't look at Deuteronomy 2:12 to know why Seir was named that, and we just see, and if he had looked at the entry for Seir, as he claimed he did, he would have seen the first entry said that was the patriarch of the Horites, who, according to Deuteronomy 2:12, lived there already prior. So that whole slideshow is shot to bits from just this little bit of information I brought. There's just no way around it. No way around it. I'm not Googling pictures. I'm looking at the text and looking at the words and connecting the proper scriptures.